Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Chat MetaPWR. My name is Anna Foley, and it's wonderful that we're able to hear real life stories here. Ceri and I actually only met over the weekend, but she has such a passion, and I just love her vibrancy. And you can tell she's on MetaPWR. As I've got to know Ceri a bit more, she's actually a clinical nutritionist, an inner work coach, and an emerging doterra leader. Congratulations on walking the stage and receiving your recognition.
Thank you.
And I love this. You describe yourself that you work with reformed party girls. Love
Yeah.
it. Want to hear more about that. And workaholics to get out of the burnout cycle and make up for the indiscretions of their 20s. Just love it. And improve fertility. I guess that's a part of your story and journey as well. So you use nutrition, neuroscience, and natural solutions. And you're a huge advocate for empowering people. So it all sounds very much like we're going to be talking about these topics tonight because MetaPWR just slots straight in as a tool to help them create their best physical, emotional, and environmental health. You've also been able to thrive naturally with your ADHD and you teach others to do the same. So I love what you do. By the sound of it, you take your life experiences and then you help others with what's helped you. Can you take us just back to before you started on MetaPWR and how were things for you? What was life like?
Well, I had a 4-month-old baby and I could see that people were having really great results with MetaPWR. I wanted to wait until I felt really confident that it wouldn't affect my breastfeeding journey. And I've just heard time and time again that everyone was feeling fantastic. And up until this point, my son had been sleeping like a dream. And at this turning point, he had started to go through a sleep regression that he never came out of. So he was kind of sleeping what they call through the night, which is about 5 or so hours per night. And then ever since then, it's not been that way at all. So I was starting to realize that my energy was not going to get any better. And in fact, it was going to probably get worse. And I thought, well, now is the time, if there is a right time, for me to start MetaPWR and just see, just as a little bit of an experiment. And well, I was blown away with not just how it improved my energy, but all of the rest of the things as well. And so my son is now 10 and a half months old, and I've been taking MetaPWR all year long. And I just love it. And my husband does too.
Would you say that those changes that you noticed, were they immediate? Were they gradual?
Some of them were immediate and some of them were gradual. The energy I noticed within a few days. And I was really surprised by that because it felt like I'd had like maybe a strong tea or a weaker cup of coffee. So the actual energy itself in my body, it felt a little bit more sustained, but it was significant. And the other changes were things like my hair. Like my hair is almost down to my waist and my nails just kept growing and growing. And my skin, like I'm not wearing any makeup today. This is just my skin. And those things became more emergent over the first kind of month or two that I was taking MetaPWR. And I only take MetaPWR Advantage and the MetaPWR Recharge. These changes were noticeable by other people. I had girlfriends saying to me, "So what's with your hair? You haven't had any postpartum hair loss." And I said, "Well, no, I haven't. And it's actually becoming a problem because I've got so much hair. I had to buy thinning shears to take some of the weight out of it." And I'm not even kidding. Like there is so much here. And I haven't, please excuse me, I haven't even brushed it today, mum life. But there's just so much of it and it just grows and grows and grows. And so I've got all these baby hairs that have come through, but I never lost anything from behind it. So there's just a lot.
So you're taking the collagen and the recharge, which is something that you can order through the US. And your husband, tell us what he's taking and what differences he's noticing.
So he's just doing the same as me at the moment, which is the recharge and the advantage. My husband has been a shift worker for 20 years. And so his sleep has always been affected. I have not known him in a state of other than exhausted. And when we had our baby, obviously that wasn't going to get any better. So he was able to shift slightly into more day-based shifts, but his fatigue didn't lift until he started taking MetaPWR. And he really noticed that he wasn't kind of what he kind of described as still paying back the debt. He said he'd started to actually feel like he was making some kind of a headway in his energy, like not being on overnight shifts anymore was one thing, but he didn't feel like he was kind of catching up. And so then when he started noticing the difference in his energy, I thought, well, this is someone who's not kind of looking for the difference. This is someone who's just like working in a physical job all the time, and they'll really notice the impact. So that was really amazing. I take lifelong vitality, but we want to just experiment for our own personal experience with the full MetaPWR range, because just so many people have experienced really great impacts on cravings and carbohydrate metabolism and things like that. So as a clinician, I really like to have the personal experience to support the literature and to support the, I guess, descriptions from others so that I can speak to that as well.
Yeah, wonderful. Can you take us down the path of the recharge? It may not be familiar to everyone.
Yes.
Would you like to describe that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll show you, this is the wild strawberry flavor here. So this is one of 2 flavors that are available from the US store. And the reason that I was so excited about this is because while I was pregnant, I found that my body really needed something more than just water to remain hydrated. And by taking electrolytes, I actually managed to reduce a lot of the morning sickness type symptoms, any of that kind of nausea. And I also never got like the swelling or the puffiness that I was kind of expecting that would just be part of the whole pregnancy experience. I am 37. So when I had my son, I was 36, and he is a big baby now, but he was perfect in every way. I didn't experience any of the kind of gestational diabetes or preeclampsia or any of the things that the doctors told me I was just going to expect because I was older. And I know that part of that is nutrition, but I have found with a lot of my clients that the electrolyte part of the picture has a lot more of an impact than we first thought. And I'm reading more and more literature about that as well. So I was really excited to be able to get a delicious flavor, because some of the electrolytes out there are a bit not so delicious. And it also comes with trace minerals, which is something that I was taking separately before I could get my hands on this anyway. So if I was taking an electrolyte and a trace minerals, buying them here in Australia was actually more expensive than getting these from the US store, including shipping. So I thought as soon as these were available, I jumped on that, and I've been thrilled. And I actually pour myself a really big glass of water and mix it up with my advantage if I'm in a hurry as well. So I can't wait for these to be local. Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to hear these tips from you, Ceri. And I know that, if your story isn't relating directly to us, we can think of people that it would, we're always aware of someone who's maybe pregnant or nurturing that new bubba, or a shift worker, or just even ourselves with our hydration levels, like you were saying. Did you find it easy to create a daily habit with these new, incorporating the recharge and the collagen?
It's really interesting because my brain is wired that creating new habits is a little bit harder. So anyone who also experiences ADHD might find that they need a list or a reminder. Oh, we have someone here. Hello. I have a literal list next to my computer of all of the things that I want to remember, including my supplements. And I've, over time, stacked my habits with, I guess, natural milestones throughout my day, so that then when I get to a point, I'm like, hang on, now is the time when I do this. And it feels a little bit uncomfortable and maybe wrong if I haven't done it. So I'm like, okay, alarm's going off that I need to do this. Like I said, if I want to just take all my supplements and things at once, then I put my advantage and my recharge in a big glass of water and kind of have that straight away with my LLV. So that way it's done. And sometimes when we take a number of different supplements, they're really designed to have at different parts of the day. And if I am going to remember them only at one time, I will take it all then. So sometimes it's just about knowing your own natural rhythms and how you can fit these positive changes in a way that is going to be sustainable.
I really like how you simplified that. 'Cause sometimes we get caught up with the, oh, it's got to be this time and this time before that, and with this and without that, and it can get a
I
bit.
think taken is better than not taken. That's what.
Let's just remember that simple line. So, thinking about your description at the start, how you relate with the party animal side of things or the workaholic, has MetaPower come in as a part of this?
100%. And the way that it all kind of fits together, because I know that from the outside, sometimes it can seem like there's a few parts there that don't maybe match up. When I was in my 20s, I kind of identified with that work hard, party harder kind of mentality. So you end up in a cycle of burnout, which was really, really fueled by my ADHD. And of course, because I was working so hard, I kind of felt like entitled to be able to play hard too, right? So what happened is that I would live on caffeine and not really nourish myself in the best ways. And so what I found was really going hand in hand with a lot of my clients is that they're really hitting that, 2 or 3, maybe 4 coffees a day mark, often not eating enough, full stop, usually definitely not eating enough protein. And what's really interesting is that with my clients who have ADHD, as well as the ones who are looking for more fertility support, the dietary recommendations I'm making are very similar. And a lot of them are reducing stress, reducing that cortisol, and increasing that protein and the good fats, of course. So there's just a lot of crossover. And so for me, it just made sense that, okay, well, MetaPower is something that supports me to have better energy without leaning on caffeine too much, as well as having that beautiful collagen, which I was taking as a supplement before MetaPower came along, anyways, because it's just so good. So, yeah, that's how that fits together for me.
It's true. I wouldn't have picked your age accurately.
I think it's really important to really just trust our intuition sometimes when it comes to these things, because there's a lot of outdated research and a hesitancy to even do studies on women who are pregnant and breastfeeding for good reason, for safety and for ethical reasons. And so no one's going to say for sure 100% that anything really is safe, because they don't want to be liable. And that's part and parcel of the supplement industry. I think that it's important to always ask the questions. It's important to know your ingredients. It's important to use products that are tested and trusted, like the ones we have at our disposals. Yes.
Excellent. That's really clearly answered. Thank you. Diana's saying, I've had a few ladies hesitating to take the lifelong vitality during pregnancy due to a vitamin A. Should that be a concern?
Good question. Vitamin A is one of those things where there's been a little bit of a mix up in mainstream literature, because the studies are done on synthetic vitamin A. When you have a natural source of vitamin A, it doesn't cause the same problems that a synthetic source does. So it's important to choose sources of vitamin A which are from real foods and real natural products, rather than something that's been made in a lab, because that's where the problems come in.
Makes sense. Now, I had a little insight. So we met by the exercise bikes.
Yes.
And you were glowing, you looked gorgeous, and you told me you just got off the bike and you hadn't even broken a sweat, and how much this was due to MetaPower, well, helping with fitness and recovery. Talk us through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always been really interested in fitness and keeping myself strong, because I want to live a long and healthy life. And my son's already 10 and a half kilos, and I imagine he's going to be taller than me in no time. But my training obviously took a pause while I was pregnant. I was really, really keen to get back into it as soon as I could. And boy, did the pause that I did have really knock me over, because I thought, oh my goodness, I've lost so much strength. I thought that carrying around a baby would be enough, but no. And so as soon as I started going back to the gym, I thought, right, well, this really needs to be a part of my routine consistently, because I look, I was embarrassed about how my fitness really dropped off. And I had an emergency C-section, which was not ideal. And so there was definitely recovery required in there and plenty of rest. And so important to be self-compassionate in that area as well. But I just don't think that if I felt any less than optimum in my body, I would have been able to train the way that I did in order to bounce back the way I have. So looking after myself has been really, really key there.
What you share is, with your vulnerability there is so powerful. And I think MetaPower can help even on that, the mental health and wellness side of things, which we can't really document, can we? We can't measure, we can't notice it visually, but to hear what you're saying there.
Well, it's really interesting that
Yeah.
you say that, because I think that one thing that I always forget to mention is the brain fog. People talk about the brain fog throughout postpartum period, and I haven't experienced that since taking MetaPower. I thought, oh, I'm going to have times when I can't place my words or everything feels difficult, and I haven't had that.
That's amazing. I think we all want that. Yeah. Beautiful. And was it easy for you to stick with it and stay motivated because you were noticing changes, or were there times where you thought, oh, I don't need this? Can you share what it was like for you?
There's definitely never been a day when I thought, you know what, I just don't need it today, ever, because I can see the difference. I thought I will always benefit from taking my MetaPower. I think there's been days when I thought, oh, would it be a good idea for me to have two?
Yes.
When I got a virus via my little boy, poor little thing, and my husband and I both added in a couple of extra sachets here and there as part of our recovery, and really it moved on very quickly. So we're very grateful for that. There's a lot of really fantastic support in the ingredients. So I think that was definitely really helpful. Like I said, it's not always easy for me to create a new habit in the first place, but I've never thought to myself, you know what, I just don't feel like I need that today.
What would you say to someone who may do it, say, for a month and then drop it? Do you have any words of wisdom around that?
I think energy-wise, it can be hard to notice unless you are quite in tune with yourself. When we make changes to our supplements or to our eating, we do need to have that level of self-awareness and connection with our body. And so I do encourage people to kind of cultivate that a little bit if they're struggling to notice what's happening in their body. But in terms of the other things, like we know that, cell turnover and stuff does take a little bit of time. So giving people, 2 or 3 months to start anything that really is going to be noticeable in the physical sense. I would say that about any supplements that I would prescribe to my clients anyways. We do supplements and then in 3 months' time we review, rather than, you're not going to experience changes in the first couple of weeks.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, Serena, great question. Can vegans take MetaPower? Well, the collagen is marine sourced. What advice do you give to a vegan who's perhaps questioning it?
Marine collagen won't be suitable for vegans. I was vegan for 3 years, and I would highly recommend, if someone is following a vegan diet and are struggling with fertility or are struggling with ADHD even, that they might chat to a practitioner about where their values might perhaps need to compromise and why. Because there are components of our diet and they're the ones that I find are the hardest or are lacking the most in these kind of conditions. These are things like choline and B12. Really, really important, and just not possible to get. Even if you supplement, like I said before, it's like a synthetic product. That's where you start to get the issues with, excessive amounts. And I really, really understand the health and ethical considerations in a plant-based diet. And sometimes it is not what is going to be the most supportive for our health and well-being. So case by case basis.
That was very gently put, but very powerful as well. Yeah. Thank you. What words of advice and words of wisdom would you give to someone who's on the fence, deciding whether to give it a try? What do you say to them, Ceri?
I think really the proof is in the pudding. There are thousands of positive testimonials for MetaPWR across everyone's teams and customer bases. If you're really wanting to have that personal experience, I think I mentioned to you in one of our chats that there is nothing as powerful as a personal experience. And what have you got to lose? I mean, you may get better energy, clearer mind, stronger hair, skin, and nails. You may not feel like you've experienced a whole heap, but you're not going to have a negative experience. So I think it's absolutely, well, I think that at 37 years old, if I have this much energy and I don't nap because my little boy is too busy and I have a business, which obviously has several moving parts, then surely other people can feel as good as I do as well.
Brilliant. How do you think MetaPWR has helped with ADHD?
Great question. I definitely would have leaned too heavily on caffeine, in an earlier part of my life. MetaPWR really enables me to really pull back on caffeine. I haven't had more than 1 cup of coffee in a day since taking MetaPWR. So that is not just great for my brain itself, but really great for my nervous system. And nervous system dysregulation is a huge component of ADHD. So it helps me remain a lot calmer and clearer of mind, which I think if you've experimented with different ways of managing a condition like this, the mind clarity is something that can be really hard to get because I don't take medication for it. I have clients who do take medication for it and they still find that the balance for them is about, finding what helps them remain regulated and mentally clear. So this is what works for me.
I think it's great. We've really touched on so many different pillars of health tonight. One thing we haven't, though, and it's all the talk at the moment with the release of the new doterra products over the weekend, is sleep. Were you sleeping well prior to MetaPWR? Has it made any difference that you've noticed?
Honestly, I actually sleep quite well. However, my sleep is very broken because of my son. So I find that in between his wake ups, which are about 3 or 4 times a night still, or now because they weren't, I can sleep fairly easily in between. What I was lacking was the energy throughout the day. So when I was having broken sleep, I was tired, I was fatigued, I could feel it in my body and in my mind. But now it's 8 o'clock and I've still got plenty of steam.
And on that note, have you tried the Advantage Collagen in the evening, Ceri?
No, I haven't, because it gives me energy for the afternoon. I like to take it earlier. I know plenty of people that do take it in the evening because they might train in the afternoon and then take it as recovery. But personally, I don't take it in the evening, but I have taken the electrolytes in the evening.
Thank you. And Serena's asking, do you put oils on your bub's feet?
Not the MetaPWR oils. I do put oils on my bub's feet though. The kids collection has been an absolute godsend, and the Copaiba Touch rollers for teething. I can't sing the praises of that one enough. That's helped me sleep.
So good. So many tips. I'm going to be rewatching this recording. So thank you very much. We've been listening to Ceri Ford. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. So much valuable sharing of stories and advice here. And yeah, thank you again for your time, Ceri.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for all the great questions.
Excellent.